Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we're tackling quite a question. One that really pushes the limits of what seems financially possible. Can you actually achieve a 100x return in just 30 days? We're going to dive into some sources that look at the strategies and, well, the almost impossible odds of taking a small sum, like 1,000 rupees, and turning it into 1 year thousand, 1 lakh, in a month.
Yeah, and it's really important to say right at the start, this isn't really an investment chat in the usual sense. It's more about extreme speed and extreme risk. Chasing 10,000% in, what, 4 works? That means we're talking about extraordinary goals. And the paths to get there, they pretty much break every rule of traditional finance. Our sources are clear. This just isn't happening through safe, conventional routes.
Right. And the key thing from the get-go, the sort of precondition, is that this potential for huge profit, it's directly linked to accepting, well, total loss. If you're shooting for that 10,000% gain so quickly, you absolutely have to accept what the source material calls extreme risk. So we need to look at the few methods. The sources group them into high-risk speculation and extraordinary business success, and really understand why only these offer that kind of, well, explosive potential.
And we have to understand that success here, it means defying statistical gravity, essentially. The sources break down the handful of ways that even theoretically offer this kind of exponential growth.
Okay. Let's unpack the first path then, the one involving pure financial risk. Our sources don't even call this investing, do they? They label it intense market speculation. This is where speed is absolutely critical, and volatility is like your engine.
Exactly. And we start with the lightning strike potential of cryptocurrency trading. But crucially, we're not talking Bitcoin or Ethereum here, not the stable ones. To get 100x in 30 days, you have to aim for the deepest, most volatile part of the market. Think new tokens, extremely low cap coins, maybe even those meme coins you hear about.
Why specifically those? What is it about them that offers this 100x shot that, say, Bitcoin doesn't?
It's really a structural thing. These assets often have like an incredibly small amount available to trade, low liquidity. Their value isn't really based on anything concrete like utility. It's almost entirely driven by momentum, social media buzz hype. So if a sort of coordinated social media pump hits one of these tiny coins, the price can just explode, 100x, maybe even more, sometimes in just days. It happens because there just isn't enough supply out there to soak up that sudden flood of demand.
Okay. So the mechanism relies on a massive, super fast, maybe even artificial market acceleration.
Correct. But the problem, and the sources really detail this, is that the price is just as likely to crash back down to basically zero. When the early buyers decide to cash out, or maybe the hype just moves on to the next thing, it's an extremely volatile market. So while turning 1,000 euro into euro lakh is, well, theoretically possible, the sources say it's actually much easier for that euro thousand to just vanish, become zero.
Okay, so crypto volatility is one path. But if that's not fast enough for you, our sources point towards highly leveraged trading. We're talking options, futures contracts, foreign exchange, Forex. This is where you use borrowed money, leverage, to make small market moves seem huge.
Right, and this is where the math gets, well, pretty brutal. And the ways you can fail become instant. See, to chase that 10,000% return on your 1,000 in just 30 days, you're essentially forced into using extreme leverage. We're talking maybe 100-to-1 leverage, which means you're borrowing something like 99,000 from your broker, just so you can control 100,000 worth of an asset with your initial I-1,000.
Whoa, hang on. Let's pause there because that 100x leverage, that seems like the core failure point we need to really define. If you're using 100x leverage, how much does the actual market price have to move against you before your 1,000 is just gone?
1%. Just 1%. If the asset you bet on moves against your position by only 1%, maybe the currency pair dips a tiny bit, or the futures contract ticks down, the broker system will automatically, instantly liquidate your entire position, close you out. That process, it's called automatic liquidation, and it's designed to make sure they get their borrowed money back, the 99,000 immediately, your 1,000, your margin. That's the first and only thing they take to cover the loss. It's gone.
Wow. Okay, that's the critical point then. That liquidation mechanism basically turns normal market risk from something that might happen gradually into an instant death sentence for your capital. And the sources are really clear, aren't they? Success needs perfect fast market movement in your favor plus perfect timing. They strongly warn this is absolutely not for beginners.
Definitely not. And then briefly in the speculation category, we should touch on those micro-cap company shares. Penny stocks, as they're often called.
Right, these are shares in tiny, often unknown companies trading at really low prices, highly unstable. But the appeal is that because the price is so low, even small moves can look like huge percentage swings.
Exactly. The risk here isn't so much about the external leverage we just talked about. It's more about internal instability
Yeah.
and the potential for manipulation because these stocks often have very low trading volumes, very little oversight. They're super vulnerable to pump and dump schemes. So yeah, you might see a massive percentage gain on paper. But the sources emphasize the underlying structure is often shaky, easily distorted on purpose. They can just collapse without any warning at all. Your investment turns worthless, maybe overnight.
Okay, so we've pretty much established that the financial speculation route is, well, a statistical suicide, basically, albeit with that lottery ticket chance of a huge reward. But what about building something? Let's shift focus now to the entrepreneurial paths. This seems like it offers a bit more control, maybe, but that 30-day deadline, that's still a massive, almost impossible hurdle, right?
The fundamental challenge is exactly the same. How do you generate a 10,000% return in just 30 days through actual sales? You have to achieve incredible sales volume, like immediately. Velocity is key. The sources talk about two main models here. The first one is the fast-selling digital product.
Right. The idea is use that initial 1,000 euro card to quickly create and market something really appealing, like an ebook, maybe a short online course, or some kind of single software tool. And if we think about the numbers, and we price this product at 500, to hit that euro 1 lakh target, you need, wow, 200 sales in 1 month.
Exactly. 200 sales in 30 days. That means you need to average nearly 7 sales every single day, starting from day one. Often with a product nobody's heard of, and you probably have zero existing audience. And this is where that initial Euro 1,000 comes in. How you use it is absolutely critical.
So the money isn't really for making the product itself. It's for speed. It has to be spent almost entirely on things like social media ads, right? Just to get eyeballs on it immediately.
Precisely. That Euro 1,000 might buy you, let's say, enough visibility for maybe 10,000 views or impressions online. But think about it. Getting 200 sales from just 10,000 views, that requires an almost, well, supernatural conversion rate.
Even if you get a decent number of clicks from those views, you still need something like a 2% or higher conversion rate from everyone who actually lands on your sales page. Why is 2% considered so high in this context?
Because typical conversion rates, I mean, even for well-known brands with established trust, they rarely get consistently above 1 or 2%. So for a brand new, totally unproven product, achieving 2% consistently from day one means that product has to be instantly viral. It needs to be perfectly targeted, solve some massive urgent problem. So urgent that people feel they have to buy it the moment they see the ad. Any slip up, any delay in that massive market acceptance, the over 1,000 just gets burned on ads that didn't work, and the goal becomes impossible by like the end of the first week.
Okay, what about the other entrepreneurial route, the service-based business? Here you're using the off 1,000 for maybe some basic marketing or perhaps a software tool you need to start offering a service people need right now, like freelance graphic design, maybe high-end writing, something like that.
Yeah, this model changes the focus a bit. Instead of high volume sales, you need high value sales. If you're selling a service and trying to hit a 1 lakh that quickly, you simply can't afford to take on small, low-paying jobs. You absolutely need to land clients who will pay you significant amounts right away.
So you're not looking for lots of small gigs. You need maybe just 2 or 3 big clients, each paying you, say, over 30,000 euro within that first month. The sources call this securing high-value clients, right?
Absolutely, and this immediately implies something important. You must already possess a high-level in-demand skill, plus the marketing ability to actually command those premium prices right from the start. That 30-day clock means you skip the whole usual startup phase, building a portfolio, getting referrals, establishing your reputation, none of that. For this to work, you basically have to enter the market as an instant expert. Otherwise, clients just won't pay the kind of fees you need to hit that target.
So when we look across both paths, the extreme speculation and this kind of hyper-accelerated entrepreneurship, they seem to share a common thread, don't they? They both force you to operate right on the extreme edges of probability.
That's really the synthesis, yeah. To achieve this goal, you need 2 things to line up perfectly: an extremely high profit rate combined with an extremely short time window. That time constraint forces you into one of 2 corners. Either take on immediate, potentially devastating financial leverage, or somehow achieve instant viral success in the market, whether with a product or a service. There's really no middle ground, no slow ramp up possible.
Okay, but here's where it gets really, really crucial, I think. We've talked about the how, the mechanics, but we absolutely need to talk about the probability. Success versus failure. We're getting to like the definitive finding from the source material here, the final warning, essentially.
And this raises a profoundly important question for anyone even thinking about these routes. What is the true cost of chasing this kind of extraordinary goal? The data, the analysis, and the sources. It shows that the probability of losing your starting capital, that year $1,000, while attempting this 100x gain in 30 days, it's statistically overwhelming. The sources confirm the failure rate is actually greater than 99%.
99%. Wow. Okay, let that sink in. Greater than 99%. That means the 100x return isn't just unlikely, it's the rarest possible outlier. And statistically, you are almost guaranteed to lose that initial euro 1,000 euros in the attempt. It completely shifts the conversation, doesn't it? From investment strategy to just incredibly aggressive risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Almost like gambling.
So what does this actually mean for you, the listener? It means you have to understand the trade-off crystal clear. You are essentially exchanging the near certainty of losing your money for a tiny, less than 1% chance of a massive instant reward. And the fact that the 30-day clock forces you into using mechanisms like 100x leverage or banking on instant virality, that ensures the probability of success stays incredibly low, negligible, really.
That 99% figure, that
Yep.
feels like the core takeaway here. The 100x return goal forces you to operate completely outside any normal safety zone. It demands either that radical, highly leveraged risk in financial markets or that immediate, massive, almost unbelievable market acceptance for a brand new product or service.
And this brings us right to the critical question that the source material itself leaves us with. It's a question that really defines your next step in learning about this stuff. Given this extreme reality, the near certainty of loss, the huge mechanical barriers we've discussed, do you want to explore more about these specific high-risk, speculative areas, understand the complex mechanics of high-speed trading even better? Or would you prefer to shift your focus entirely towards methods for safer, more structured, long-term wealth growth?
It's a really fundamental choice, isn't it? It's learning how to chase that lightning strike versus learning how to build a reliable circuit for steady growth over time. Definitely something to think about, what the implications of that choice are for your own knowledge and what you want to explore next. Until our next deep dive, stay curious.